Hello and welcome back to Bohemian Dragon. I am your hostess Lori and welcome to another Indie Thursday promoting indie tarot and oracle creators. I hope you guys are all having an amazing day. Give me just a second to get the chat up. Urgh. That isn't my YouTube app wants to behave itself. Uh, no, stop. Come on, behave. There it is. All right. Now, let's see if it'll actually show me the chat this time, because last week it didn't want to. And I felt really bad because I missed out on comments from you guys. So, also, are you guys getting buffering on your end? Because I'm getting buffering on my end. Oh, OBS, what are you doing? What are you doing? OBS. Let's try. Let's try to do that. I dropped the video bitrate down, so hopefully that helps. Alright. I'm not seeing any more buffering. Nope, just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Okay. Alright, and hopefully nobody has said anything yet? I find that hard to believe. I thought Alex was here. But maybe he wasn't. That's okay. We'll go ahead and share this out. And go back into the chat. Okay. This is what happens when you're away from doing live streams for too many months and then everything like goes to weird. Okay, so I have got a large lineup for you guys today of indie Oracle and Tarot creators, and I actually have somebody that did go ahead and comment for promotion. So I have one person, but if you guys want to get the word out, please do. The more the merrier. I am happy to cover your content and promote your content each week. So let's get started. Okay, we need to change my beautiful face here. We need to make me smaller. Oh. Let's just transform. Reset. Okay. Because it's not about my pretty face. I hope you guys like the new backdrop, though. Alright, so our first person, our first indie creator is Mystic Self-Care Oracle. Now, she reached out to me on Instagram based on a post that I had made, saying, hey, I'm promoting indie creators. This is the current card list of Oracle cards that she's working on. So she's working on an Oracle deck centered around self-care. This is a rather ambitious list. But a lot of these make sense. There's a few of on here that kind of feel a little like they are maybe the same thing, like comfort food and bake. But at the same time, they are sometimes often considered two different things. So I think this is going to be a great set. So I wanted to show you guys some of the stuff of what she's working on. So this is the first card. Now I love that she's using photo. I do love here too that she's got it set up so that you can read the text really clearly. I feel that it's very important when you're working with any kind of deck. That's one of my frustrations with my I'm not going to get up and show you guys right now, but my Star Power deck, the text while it does fit with the overall theme of the deck, is just a touch hard to read. It's just not very clear. So I'm a big one, and maybe this is because of all the time I've spent, working and doing like print shop stuff and, working in digital artwork and stuff. But I'm always big on making certain that whatever, it is that you're creating, that it's easy to read. So I love that she's got it set up so that, yeah, the photo is really beautiful, and it's really great, but you can still read the text that she's going to have on the card. So, and then same here. So hydrate, emotional release, and then she's talking about shadow work there. Therapy. Now we're starting to see, so like she doesn't have this as grayed out in the background as she has on the previous cards. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe she'll change that, tweak it just a little bit, because I think she's got a really, really great idea and a really great product here. But I'm hoping before she launches that she just fixes it just a little bit, because some of these letters, like you can see here where you're reading along, and then the L and the A in essential, and then the H kind of gets lost, and then the L and the H, just because the shadow is so dark in the background. But I still think that each of these are a really good idea. And what I love about this particular Oracle deck is that you could use it at home for meditation purposes to help you with your own self-care, but you can also help to use it exploring in, like a therapy session or whatever. So, I mean, if you were struggling going in and talking to, your conflict coach or your therapist or, your doctor or whatever, that you could use these cards to kind of help with that facilitation. Because sometimes, especially, I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for myself, as somebody who's neurodivergent and somebody who has chronic pain, sometimes having those conversations is really difficult with, your medical providers. And so having something where I could just bring in a card or a couple of cards or whatever, or in the deck, and pull out what I needed to and help use it as a way of communicating a prompt or whatever, would be really beneficial. So I think this is a great idea. Let's see. Boundaries, another good one. So, and she's showing off the cards and stuff. I'm really excited to see where she takes this. She's showing off some of the sketches and stuff as well, which I think is great. Showing that artist process helps to bring people in. And I'm super excited to see where this project goes. I mean, she's just kind of getting started on it. She's only been really going at this since, February, but I think she's got a good foundation going forward. And I'm anxious to see, or excited to see where she takes it from here. So the next one I wanted to talk about was the La Flora Tarot. Now, this is kind of a little backstory, and I'm gonna read it here because I think it's something that's very important. So, so this is the creator is Lalula. I can't pronounce her name very well. I think it's French, but I think she hails from Canada. So, but I think her name is French. Anyways, so she says, Dear La Florettes, I just wanted to drop a quick word after 24 hours of campaigning to acknowledge the weirdness involved in last night's premature launch, and to thank each and every one of you for the support and kind words sent my way. If you've been following my Instagram account, La Flora Tarot, you know the campaign was scheduled to launch on March 30th. Clearly, this is not March 30th. Yet, after some inexplicable event, at this time unimportant, the campaign aired last night, a few minutes before Kickstarter went offline for maintenance. So, something happened, and then Kickstarter's maintenance went in at the same time. This was a double whammy, so to speak, since not only it turned all of my marketing efforts toward the launch build-up instantly pointless, but also Kickstarter's launch push notification directed many of the hundreds of prospects on the waiting list to an offline web page, as Kickstarter was out for maintenance. Needless to say, this drastically affected the crucial initial 48 hours of La Flora Tarot's campaign. So, as some of you may or may not know, when people are launching these, self-published campaigns on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, the first 48 to 72 hours, the first 2 days, the first 2 to 3 days, are the most important time during the campaign. And how well it does during that time period will either make or break a campaign, oftentimes. Because if you don't start with a very strong push, if you don't start with a very strong, you know, campaign, it just kind of tends to fizzle out. Even though they do keep these campaigns short, usually within 30 to 50 days, just so that you can keep the momentum going. This really was not great for her, and I reached out to Kickstarter. I'm hoping that maybe they will do something to help her, maybe do a little promotion on their own website and stuff, because they have a tendency to take projects that they love and promote them more through Kickstarter's ad campaigns and stuff. So I'm hoping that they'll do something to help her, because I kind of feel like whatever, they were the ones who launched her campaign early for some bizarre reason. And so that kind of screwed her over. So I wanted to I wanted to promote her stuff today, because I really do believe that this campaign is very, very beautiful. So she says, I'm Era Cortez, illustrator, graphic designer, and founder of the design studio Lalulu. Or yeah, I can talk. I'm thrilled that you were here to check out my project, so without further ado. And then she's showing off different images of the back of the cards. Now, one of the things that I'm loving about this project is that she is taking curated centuries old drawings. Now, way back in the day when, people were really studying botany and herbs and everything and stuff, everything was hand drawn. Everything was hand drawn, because we didn't have sophisticated, technology like we have now. We didn't have, computer generated software. We didn't have photographs. Okay. I mean, we didn't have photography. Everything had to be hand drawn. And so there's all these beautiful, like I've studied herbology. And so there's all these really beautiful old vintage, just ancient drawings, very detailed drawings of plants, and like how they're composed, and the detailing of the petals and the leaves and everything. And they're just, it's, for identification purposes, because you don't want to confuse two herbs, because that could be fatal. So these drawings were very, very detailed, and they're really old masterpieces, as she says. And they were originally created for scientific purposes, as she says, pushing the edge of the realm of pure art. Far from being a collage, these botanical masterpieces were beautifully reproduced using a drawing technique called stippling. So she reproduced these in an artistic technique known as stippling. And stippling is very, very, very time consuming as an art form. But it creates some of the most detailed and artwork with depth. Now, stippling is done, you take some type of ink pen or a pencil, and it's literally dots, little tiny dots, that are then built up to create this final masterpiece. So each one of these cards started out as a drawing that she then took and then turned into stippling, and I just think that's amazing and so time consuming. She's obviously put a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of passion into each one of these, because they're just gorgeous. So let's see here, let's play this real fast. Oh, loud, we're gonna turn that down.
There's such a thing as so many botanical tarot decks. They all celebrate nature, self-knowledge, art, and intuition. At the end, each one is a personal artistic interpretation of the tarot, and La Flora is mine.
And so like you can see the detail here of the stippling, and it just blows me away how time consuming and detailed this is. But she's given a lot of thought also into all of the little elements that go into this deck as well. So like there is a box that you could pledge towards, or a just a small deck box that you could pledge towards. I mean, she's taken a lot of time and a lot of effort to make certain that each of the little pieces in this deck are very like they all integrate and stuff. And for a lot of people who love to collect you know, tarot decks as an art form, or even, you know, as you know, to use, having the right box to go with it is everything. The right bag, the right box, the right whatever, you know. So she's obviously taken a lot of time to make certain that each of these pieces, you know, and you can see here where she's showing off you know, the design process of the boxes and stuff. I just think this is really, really neat. Um, you know, showing off the card holders. I love that the card holder is kind of like this, like everything's got this four leaf clover feel to it. Like the four leaf clover, I think, is just so neat. Um, but these card holders are lovely in the fact that this is something that you could display on a shelf. So if you had like an individual card that really spoke to you, you could put it in one of these and then put it up on your shelf and have it next to your computer or whatever, you know, and it's just this beautiful piece of art. So, and then she shows off the deck, you know, and all of its, you know, art forms and stuff. And it just the fact that each one of these was hand stippled just blows me away. I mean, the time that each of these had to have taken to make just absolutely floors me. And she also took the time to make certain that each of these pieces, like the flowers themselves, kind of matched up with the different themes of the deck. Now, she does say the deck is composed of 84 cards, so this is a little bit more than, you know, your standard tarot deck. So it's a few more cards than that, which means that she has a few that are personal, you know, personally curated. You know, here's the tuck box, you know, the inspiration. She's showing where she got her inspiration from, which is just really, really neat. You know, the concept, and she's got another short little video here.
Only after reading The Intelligence of the Flowers, written by Maurice Mourling, have I started to believe that connecting the tarot archetypes and plants was actually possible. And from the start, I did not want La Flora to be just about beautiful drawings. I wanted to establish a meaningful correlation between the cards and the plant world. So I researched countless hours aiming to assign strong significance to the match between flowers and the tarot cards, and hopefully that will be made evident once everybody gets a chance to read the guidebook.
So then she talks about the stippling.
Stippling in 1 minute. I collected an incredible amount of old plant drawings done by artists from different eras, places, and styles, but I didn't want La Flora to become a collage, so stippling worked as the common thread, weaving all the artwork together. It is also a classical way of drawing, which I thought would do justice to the beauty of the original art. And then there is the significance of stippling to me, about how each dot resembles tiny plant seeds. And also there is the magic of stippling itself. In stippling, you have to have the proper balance between involvement and separation to probably appreciate the image. And I think that goes on most things in life.
I love what she says there about how stippling, like she felt like each dot was like a seed. I love that. So, and then she talks more about the process and the plants, and the four-leaf clover, as part of the back of her card. So, she talks about synchronicity. I'm not gonna keep going. So, then the wooden box. I love, love, love this. This is gorgeous. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous. And then the reading cloth, which I just think is neat in that it's all natural hand dyed. So that's really cool. And then this clover card holder. I'm kind of wanting just to pledge to get the clover card holder because this is so neat. I mean, it's just, I've seen a lot of card holders out there, but I've not seen one like this. And I love it because you can either have it individually out, you could have it set, there's four pieces so that you have enough there if you're one of those like me where you do a lot of three card spreads. You can put three cards up, or you know you can have it on a shelf, you could have it on your altar and have each piece represent the four elements. I mean, it's a very versatile design and I love it. I love it. So, and then coins, which are something that is kind of interesting. As I've been doing more research on kind of like indie playing cards and indie decks and all of that and stuff, having a luck coin uh, seems to be like a common piece in a lot of these indie decks. And I'm not entirely certain. I'll be honest. I'm not entirely certain the reasoning behind it because when I was introduced to the tarot way back in the day, um, I there weren't luck coins. They weren't really associated with the decks back then. So it's kind of a newer thing for me. I think it's very interesting. And I'm kind of interested to see where that goes. And then she's got art prints that you can get. And then just the whole collection itself is just absolutely stunning. So I'm really hoping to see this campaign take off. Of course, she's got the different tiers where you can get all the little add-ons and everything and stuff. Oof. Card holder set 75. Ah! Okay. I still might have to get it though. It's just, it's kind of interesting to see how all of this goes down. And I'm really, really hoping that this is a very successful campaign for her. Currently, she's got 142 backers, 38 days to go. So even if you guys don't want to pledge to this deck, I ask that you guys share it on. And help support her artwork because she's obviously put a lot of time into this. So it's a gorgeous deck, and I'm hoping that it turns out. All right, let's go to the next one. So the next we've got the Maker's Tarot, which is a complete 180 to where we were at. We were doing, we were looking at a deck that was very, classic artwork, very classic, very to definitely very modern day, bright, colorful pop art-ish feel, and that's the Maker's Tarot. So, was created by Caitlin Taylor. She's based out of Florida. She says, "Hi, my name is Caitlin Taylor, and this tarot deck is a celebration of art in all its forms. The Maker's Tarot was inspired by a moment when I saw a video online of someone creating traditional handmade lace. And I was struck by the realization that there are so many different ways in which someone can be an artist or creator, and the ways in which we create often have a huge impact on the way we view the world. I had been thinking of creating a tarot deck for a while, and this felt like the perfect subject for my cards. Each one of the 78 cards in the Maker's Tarot represents a different subcategory of art or type of creative technique carefully selected to correlate to the meaning of the cards. This deck was designed to resonate with a wide variety of creative spirits and explore how the process of being a maker relates to our lives, while also showcasing as many different crafts as possible. I've completed all the artwork for the deck and now just need the funding to bring it to life. And just kind of a quick look at this and stuff. Like, she's got Fimo, she's got photography, baking as an art form. Let's see what else. Oh, but macrame, makeup, just not. I already said photography, but she's got so many in this. And then she talks about the major arcana, which each one of these is just so neat. It's just so fun. As somebody who is a very artsy person, I can definitely see like resin artwork. That's just so cool. Calligraphy, basket making. She definitely does represent. I wonder if batiks in here. I'll have to look a little harder and see if that's in here. Batik is such a cosplay. I'm not seeing batik. Darn. That would have been really neat. That's all right. Supply hoarding the devil. Oh, I love it. Yes. I don't hoard art supplies and craft supplies. No, not me. Guilty. Totally guilty. So, it's such a neat, and I love that she's got the dot work. Oh, goodness. Sorry, guys. I always yawn when I do these. Um, so it says the print is a Kickstarter exclusive, so she's doing a print as well, and an enamel pin, which I think is kind of fun, and a beaded brooch. Well, that's kind of fun. And then she's got stretch goals, shipping, timeline, project budget, risks and challenges. So this is really cool. And it's really cool. I think it's a little ambitious to add a pin, but her goal is not too terribly ambitious. Um, I think this is a neat one, and I would love to see this, you know, come to life. I really would. So, not certain I'm going to back it myself. I think the thing that's throwing me about the artwork is just the paint ooze at the top. I mean, it definitely fits with the overall theme, but at the same time, like, I grew up in the Nickelodeon, era of, like, the slime, whatever. Oh God, what was that show? I don't remember. Anyways, that's all it makes me think of. So, but it's really a fun deck, and I think this is going to be great. So, I really hope that this succeeds for her. So, she's got 27 days to go, and she's almost halfway there. Well, actually, she is halfway there with her goal. So, let's see if we can get her out the rest of the way. All right, so taking another 180 degree turn here, and we're moving over to a very gothic kind of dark deck. This is the Pazlo deck, a tarot deck. It's currently got 23 days to go and 83 backers, but it looks like they're over the halfway mark, so that's good. uh, let's watch the video. Ooh, spooky scary. Turn it down just a touch too, it's a little loud. Hey Crimson, welcome. Yeah, this is definitely a more gothic dark deck. Holy cow. Some of those creatures flying across the screen reminds me of things I've run into on Sands of Time on Skyrim.
Hi, I'm Matthew Pazel. I'm an artist, designer, and performer in Toronto. My group of friends is pretty diverse, and we don't all fit into the traditional roles society tries to force us into. But one thing we do all have in common is a love for the novel, bizarre, and weird things that make our lives interesting. One of the novelties that I've always been drawn to is the occult and other less mainstream forms of spiritualism. But even these more eccentric practices can be steeped in imagery that is binary and heteronormative. When you're engaged in an activity that is supposed to be deeply individual and personally transformative, those images can be really distracting if they don't resonate with you. So I've designed a tarot deck that is inclusive of everybody, no matter your race, gender, or sexuality. Instead of using the ordinary men and women depictions, I've replaced the traditional tarot characters with bones and anatomy. The skeleton is the core of the human body that we all share. It could be any of us. Because the last thing you want to be thinking about when you're working towards your own self-actualization are all the parts of the world that are actively fighting to keep you feeling small and unworthy and undeserving to celebrate and explore everything that makes you beautiful and unique. This campaign is designed to fund the initial print run of my deck. The basic deck consists of 78 traditional tarot cards measuring 2.75 inches by 4.75 inches. Additional information about the deck can be found on the Kickstarter page.
Which, by the way, that
You can
size
also
is
get a negative
considered the
arcana
new
expansion
standard
as a
for
reward
tarot decks,
one of
which
the
is good
higher
because it makes
pledge
them
tiers.
easy to shuffle.
This turns your deck into a trickster's deck with a maligned assortment of divine conditions and maladies to add a little
Okay,
mirth
I'm
and
kind of
foolish flavor to
loving
your
the
readings.
the extra
It's all in good
cards or
fun,
the trickster
or is it?
cards.
If this campaign reaches its target goal, your rewards will be sent out
Jesus.
to you. If it fails, you get your money back. I've put a lot of time and love into the design of this deck. Really, it's the culmination of my life as an artist to date. I'm excited to share my vision with you, and I hope you'll decide to adopt a deck for yourself. Thanks for watching. See you in your readings.
Watching this video, I'm reminded of some of the videos that there's a YouTube channel called Dark 5, I think it's called, that I used to watch all the time, where he talked about cryptids and like hauntings and like kind of more like hidden like counterculture-y stuff. And that's kind of the feel I get from this deck, is that kind of like darker, more like underworld type of feel. And I just think that's it. I love that's one of the things I love about indie creators, is that it's not just whatever pretty imagery or what. And I'm not saying that the pretty imagery isn't great, because like I'm so excited that Annie Stokes is coming out with an all dragons tarot. I mean, but there's the big, publishing companies, Llewellyn, Fortner, Lo Scarabo, and there's one other that I can't think of off the top of my head. The top four that publish tarot and oracle decks, they often overlook a lot of these decks. Now, Lo Scarabo does do several more gothic decks, but something like this, they probably wouldn't publish, which is sad because there's obviously a niche for this. I mean, clearly there's 83 backers on this, so I really hope that this deck gets fully funded. I would love to see it fully funded. I myself am probably not going to get it, just because I don't need more decks. Not at the moment. My wish list is already huge. And I have to pick and choose each year, but he did say that this his initial run of the printing, so I'm hoping that this is a deck that'll be around for a while so that I can eventually pick it up. But I think this is going to be a very interesting inclusion into, you know, tarot in general. So his name is Matthew Pazzo. I can't pronounce that name. I'm so sorry, Matthew. So Temperance, the iconography is great. I love it. I love that it's so different from anything else. So there's stickers too. Yeah, like a couple of these look like things that I fought in Skyrim. That's just so fun. Me and my murky isolation layer. Love it. Love it, love it. So, this is neat. I hope that this gets funded. Okay. All right. Doing another 180. So, I found this one on Indiegogo. This is the Black Queer Tarot. Now, what I find very interesting about this, and one of the things I talked about last week when I was talking about the Midnight City Tarot, is that there's um, a lot of going back to the major publishers, there's not a lot of decks out there that are very inclusive. They're not very inclusive for color, they're not very inclusive for sexuality, and so it's hard because tarot decks are supposed to be this, at the end of the day, while they did start out as a playing card game, now they are very much a a vehicle for personal growth, and so buying a tarot deck is a very personal decision. I mean, every single deck of mine, um, like this is, the Annie Stokes Gothic Tarot, every single deck that I have purchased was a very personal decision because I felt that that deck resonated with me. And so for people of color, for people who are maybe non-binary, or they're bi, or they're pan, or they're gay, or whatever, there's not a lot of decks out there that really are very inclusive for that. And so that's why when I found this one, I just fell in love with it, because it is specifically targeted towards black queers. And I just think that's so great because that means that there's a deck out there that celebrates them. So we're going to go ahead and watch this real fast. And let's make this a little bigger. They started out as hand-drawn sketches and then went into photography. Turn this down a little. It's loud. These are so beautifully done. Interesting point. I've never bought a tarot deck myself, but I love the mentality of there's a deck out there for you. The personal growth bit really drives it as well. Yeah, well, a lot of us that play around with tarot, we don't just do it just for the divination aspect of it. I mean, that can be a very important aspect, but there's such a beauty in being able to pick up something and have it resonate with you and pull a card and feel like that you can sit down and meditate on it, or that you could journal on it or whatever. I've seen writers use them for writing prompts, so if you're having writer's block, a tarot deck or an oracle deck can be used for that as well. And I just think that's one of the beautiful things out there about this. And then the fact that these indie creators are making and creating these decks that are for, specific, often overlooked, groups of people. And I just think that's really, really great, that can, that market can be fulfilled, much in the same way that indie games, fulfill a niche for, maybe a game style out there, that just has been, underserved. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about, all of these different decks. I'm really loving the iconography of this. It's so inclusive and so I just love it. I love too that the artist started with sketches and then, did photography and then collage to kind of bring it all together. That's one of the other things I love about tarot and oracle decks is that, and I said this in my live last week, you can pick up a deck. So, like for instance, I love Annie Stokes's work. Okay, this is a deck that was produced by Fortner, so one of the big four out there, the publishing companies out there. I love her artwork, but there is no way in hell that I could ever afford a print of every single one of her artwork out there. So I'm going to show you the Hanged Man, which is Medusa. So this is one of her pieces of artwork. So in this deck I have 78 cards that are all Annie Stokes artwork. And I love her artwork. I love her iconography. I mean, look at this. The Fool. This is a baby dragon, you know? And so one of the beautiful things about, tarot and oracle decks is that, you know, it's often 78 cards or, less, depending if it's an oracle deck or not. Some oracle decks have less cards, but it gives you a huge variety of the artist's artwork in your hands. So for Kendrick here, who clearly has an eye for photography and collage, somebody who really admires his work, this would be this would be wonderful to back because they could own 78 pieces of his artwork. 78 pieces. I mean, that is astronomical. And yeah, they're smaller pieces, but that doesn't matter because you could still frame them. You could still put them, like in one of those, card holders on your desk or on your shelf or whatever and have it, and so it's such a wonderful way to celebrate artists, regardless of whether you use the cards for divination or self-growth or whatever. If you really love the artwork, it's just a really great way to collect somebody's art. Um, okay, put that away. So this is the Black Queer Tarot, and I love this. I love that it all fits, and it's all, there's a celebration of body in here too, without it being, um, I don't know. Sometimes I see like this artwork that's celebrates the body, the body as a piece of artwork, and it feels too sexualized. And I don't really get that from this deck, and I love that. I really love that. So it looks like he's 86% to his goal. I would love, and he's only got 7 days left though to hit his funding. So I would really love to see this. Um, I would really love to see him make this goal. This is just an absolutely stunning deck. So that is Black Queer. Now, I wanted to give you guys a real fast update at the end here on two campaigns that I talked about last week. So the first one is Midnight City Tarot, which has only got 4 days to go left on its goal. And I love that it has already hit its goal. It does seem tasteful, not very explicit. Yes, that's the word I was looking for, Crimson. Not explicit, because that is something that it's a lot of art that has that depicts the human body seems to be very explicit, more R-rated and stuff or X-rated, and I love that deck does not do that. I love that. It was very tastefully done. So going back to Midnight City, so this is one of the projects I have backed. And I'm super excited that it has made its funding goal. But I wanted to just give you guys an update. It's fully funded, but it does have 4 days to go, and I would love to see her hit the 20,000 mark before and beyond before the end of the 4 days. So I wanted to give you guys an update on that. And then when I last showed this one to you guys last week, I don't think it had hit its funding goal yet. I think it was just short. Tarot bought the Black Edition. This is another one that I decided to go ahead and back because I thought it was a very interesting take, more modernized take on the tarot. And I loved too that he had come up with extra cards. So it's actually an 88 card deck instead of 78, the traditional. It's got 10 extra cards, but I thought that they were very appropriate for the current kind of time period, because things have evolved, things have changed, and while the iconography and the idea behind tarot is fairly timeless, I do feel like there are new archetypes and new situations and new things that kind of maybe need to be included, and I think that this artist has done a very good job of that with these bonus cards. So he's got the elder, the anarchist, the con man, the pit, the witch, the imposter, the helpless, the scarecrow, the demon, and the plague doctor. Which, oh my god, the plague doctor. So I really am loving this deck. I can't wait to hold it in my hands. I'm gonna do an unboxing for you guys when I get it. But I am very happy too that it has made its pledge goal, but it's still got 26 days to go, so it could even go up and beyond that. So I hope you guys can't hear my son in the background. I'm sorry. I've asked him to be quiet during these, but he gets loud sometimes. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and for joining me on this journey. If you guys know of any indie creators of tarot and oracle decks, please, please, please send them my way, send them to my Instagram, send them to my Twitter, send them to this video, show it to them, so, and and share this out so that they know, because I want to celebrate them, I want to promote them, I want to show their work off, because I don't feel like that is done very often, and I want to be able to give back. So thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I hope to see you guys later. Bye.